Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to install spools on a swing arm for a motorcycle. This is a 2007 919. I'm just got done putting a shock on, a new rear shock, so figured while I was at it I'll put these spools on. These allow you to use a motorcycle stand similar to this one over here. This one's using paddles at the moment. The paddles come underneath the bottom of the swing arm, so you can lift the rear of the bike up to do tire maintenance and chain maintenance, chain cleaning, that kind of stuff. But the spools are a little more sturdy in my opinion, and so I'm actually going to tap into the swing arm. I've done this side already and I'll do the other side as well, and put these spools on. What these are is of course just a spool that sits on the side, so you tap that in and then you can then lift the bike from these spools. The ones that I bought were just some cheap eBay ones. They use an 8mm bolt with a 1.25 thread pitch. So you have to get the right tap set. You can buy a tap and die set at Harbor Freight or Home Depot or wherever. And I of course tested this beforehand, so I used a 64th drill bit. I drilled into a piece of wood and then tapped it using the tap, and then I just of course threaded my bolt through that hole to make sure that it fit correctly. Make sure we got it on there correctly, and of course it fit just fine. It didn't bind. I threaded it quite a ways to make sure that it doesn't bind. So I just got done drilling this one out. It is aluminum and it is hollow inside, and so I went slow, and with aluminum it doesn't usually get very hot, but if you want to, you can use some oil. I've got some gear oil here that you can use to put on your drill bit. And when I tap this, I will use oil as I tap this, partially to keep the heat down, although there's not going to be a lot of heat, but it cuts easier and it keeps my tap from getting dull. Plus the oil will help the shavings stick together, so I can pull them out so they don't drop into the swing arm. Not that that's that big a deal, but it'll help keep it clean. So I've already marked the other side over here where I'm going to drill it. So I'll drill that side out, and then I'll start tapping it, and then I'll show you the spools installed. Okay, I'll show you just real quick. Let's start drilling this side. It's really important when you drill. You got to remember you're actually making the hole where the bolt's going to be. So I'm kind of in a tough position here since I've got my bike suspended with a ladder, but you want to make sure you're square. So you don't want to be at the wrong angle, front or back or up or down. You want to make sure you're square. And the position of the bike's a little off too, because the swing arm itself is slightly sloped. So you have to go off the side of the swing arm, not necessarily the bike. So you have to make sure you get it just right. And when drilling this, and I'll set the camera down after I get started here, but you just go real slow to get it started. You don't want it to grab too much and bind. And I can't push hard enough. I need to hold on the bike, so I'll drill out the hole first, and then if you notice down here on the floor I've got some blue stuff. Well, I got the spool installed on this side, so I already tapped it and I already put it in. I put some thread locker on it because these don't require a lot of torque. I mean, all the weight is pulling on the bolt, but it's not pulling on the threads. It's just pulling on the weight of the bolt. So you don't need to tighten them down really tight, but because of the vibration on the bike, especially where it's located at, I didn't want it coming off, and so I put some thread locker on it to hold it down. So I will drill this side out over here and then show you how I tapped it. Okay, I got the camera set up so you can see what I'm doing. I apologize, it's kind of dark, but I'm going to finish drilling this hole real quick. What I'm doing is just put my foot under here to pull on the tire. And I'm not pushing real hard. You can see little flakes coming off. I don't want to go too fast, otherwise it'll bind on me. And if I get little long strips like that, I just back off a little bit and let it get them off. Aluminum's pretty soft, so you don't have to drill real fast. Okay, and right there it grabbed, so it pulled through the hole. The easiest thing to get it out is put it in reverse and push, ironically, and that'll actually cut those last little bits out. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've got my gear oil here. I'm going to dab a little bit on the end of the tap. You can see it's pretty thick, it's pretty cold in the garage. Set it in there again. I want to make sure I'm square, so I'm paying attention to how I'm getting it set here. And I'm not a pro at this. I've only done this a few times, but you want to start threading in a little bit. Once it starts grabbing, you want to start backing off a tiny bit. Get any loose shavings to come back out in those channels. I usually do, 3/4 of a turn or so. And again, aluminum is pretty soft, so this doesn't take very many turns. So get it loose again. Yeah, see, that's already through. So I'll tap one more time. A couple more threads. And it's clear. The nice thing with that gear oil, if you look when I bring this out, all those metal shavings came out with it. Just stuck to it. And then I usually grab another one of those shavings and get the rest of that out. Okay, and then I grab my bolt, make sure it fits. I usually thread it in and out a couple times to clear out any remaining pieces that are in there. If it catches, back it out and clean them off. You want that clean when you go to tighten it down. So yeah, see, it's threading pretty easy. It's perfect fit. So my last step is to thread this in. I'm going to wipe this off real quick, get the oil off of the bolt. Put some thread locker on here. They make different colors. This is the blue medium thread locker. Don't need a lot. Okay. And again, these don't need to be super tight. The tension on these is pushing against the bolt, not pulling on the threads. So they just need to not come off. That's it. I now have swing arm spools installed, so I can use a spool lifter for the swing arm and get easy access to the rear tire and make easy maintenance of the bike.